so much. Again, a very warm welcome to everybody who has joined in and to our leaders from BlackRock who have made the time out to talk to all of you all about what it takes to make the career comeback, especially during these challenging times. And I'd like to now keep the floor open for Ms. Nisha Awasthi, who's the Managing Director, Head of Human Resources for BlackRock India. She's been with the firm for over 15 years and has worked in different roles across data and analytics within various functions in BlackRock. Nisha is committed to driving diversity, equity, and inclusion through various talent initiatives. And she also leads the Women's Initiative Network for BlackRock India. On a personal note, Nisha is preparing to send her twin daughters to college in 2022 and spends her weekends cooking and exercising with them. On that note, Nisha, a very warm welcome. I now open the stage to you to take all of us through what BlackRock has in store for women wanting to get back to work.
Thank you, Ujjwala. Quick audio check if you guys can hear me and see me. Okay, cool. I'm sorry, I had a major tech issues dialing into Zoom, and my daughter, like I said, was helping me just troubleshoot that. These guys are more smarter than we are. But hello, ladies. I don't think I can see a lot of the attendees on video, but please smile and wave and show me the happy you. I'm very, very excited to be here in this forum. And I want to express my heartfelt thanks to Jobs for Her for making this happen. And I'm truly, very confident that we are off to a very, great journey ahead. I also want to thank all of you for taking out time and, getting into this conversation. This is an opportunity, awesome opportunity for all of us, and very, very kicked about it. A quick personal thing, not personal, professional thing, but on a funny note, Lakshmi, who is my talent acquisition partner at BlackRock, she was actually talking to me about this event, and she said the meeting slot is like 11 to 12. And she shared the reason behind that, and she said it probably will be the most comfortable time zone for most women, given partners will be busy with their work, kids with their schools, and kitchen will be taken care of. And I was like, smiled and said it in my mind. I said, come on, Lakshmi, what are you talking? It's the most comfortable time for me as well. We are all in the same boat. Well, great. I want to start with a quick story on me, and I find this very, very relevant, and I don't shy away from sharing my personal thing there. And then I'll take you for a quick ride in BlackRock. This is an opportunity for us also to just talk about the workplace that BlackRock is and whether this matches to what you're looking for when you restart your careers. The one ask that I have from all of you is, please, let's make it interactive. Please participate and keep sending your questions to Ujjwala. As this matters to all of us, and we want to get as much as we can out of this, 1 hour of time we have together. Okay, so the story that I want to begin with. This was in 2005, exactly 16 years back. I was looking to return to work. I took years of break when I was actually on my family way. I have twin daughters who are going to be turning 17 this year, and as like Ujjwala mentioned, they are off to their college in next year. So I was on a break, and I was thinking of getting back. Getting back to a corporate was a tough decision, knowingly. How would you balance your personal life, your kids, who were like almost like 1 year old, and then also, being able to work at the workplace. Honestly, I will not hide and share that I did try school for a couple of days, and then I realized this is not my passion. This is not something I want to do. Okay, so I was looking to come back to corporates, and I did not have my own personal laptop, and I asked my husband to look for open jobs, given my qualification and experience. He talked about some of the roles that were open, the role that, BlackRock gave me 16 years back. He said there are a couple of roles open, and he used a lot of technical jargons like CMBS, securitization, which I was hearing for the first time. And I faced my first barrier, or the challenge, the fear of being able to return to work, and the self-doubt. Would I be able to do this? I'm out of touch. I don't know the subject well. But I told myself I'll give it a try. I may not get through, but I'll still give it a try and believe in my abilities. I may not know completely, but I strongly believe that I can learn. I went through several rounds of interviews, and a lot of interviews actually hinted long working hours, work pressure, and the second barrier kicked in: balance between work and home front. It was a very difficult choice at that point of the time, leaving behind two kids of a year old and then going back to corporates, which may demand long working hours. I asked for support. I had a very good chat with my family, with my husband, with my mom, with my dad, and I felt I created a support system. Finally, overcoming the third barrier of breaking the stereotype of women, balancing work and home and having it all. The HR at that point of a time asked me this question on new mother, working hours, will you be able to manage? And trust me, ladies, I was very blunt on her face, and I told her, you shouldn't be asking this question, above everything else. Here I am, 16 years and going very, very strong. So why do I share this story? Obviously, this is very personal to me. Some of these experiences are very, very personal to me. One, obviously, I feel my story will have reflections in your stories. It may be similar in some ways, but more importantly than that, I want to call out that this will not be a very easy ride. We will face barriers, but one thing that can make this happen is you have to hold yourself accountable to believe in yourself, take risk, and seek support from your family, from the organization that you work for the managers that you work for, and the leaders. I did that, and BlackRock created this journey for me. So, I want to get into more about talking about my organization, BlackRock. And I know some of you may have read through our websites and the various articles and the recent letter to shareholders by Larry Fink, who's our CEO. But I do want to just bring that back in terms of, setting up the complete context of who we are. As a people-centric firm, BlackRock's long-term sustainability, and I say long-term because we are a 32-year-old firm founded in 1988 by 8 founding members. Sounds like this little dream, when you're sitting with a group of friends, maybe over a couple of drinks, and you say, hey, let's start a venture of our own. I think it reminds me of that kind of a thing. But our long-term sustainability really depends upon our people and our culture. We are the world's largest investment management firm. In numbers, approximately over 8.5 trillion US dollars assets under management. And assets under management, AUM, explaining it in simpler terms, is the money that we manage for our clients. So 8.5 trillion of money that we manage for our clients. We are 16,500 employees globally, very small firm, unlike other major investment banks. And we are across 35 plus countries, and we speak 80 plus languages. We're very, very diverse. Talking about our financial results, BlackRock had a very strong 2020, given the pandemic, given how world was grappling around the challenges. BlackRock actually had a good year, and I'll talk you through why we had that. We had an 11% growth in our revenue, 19% growth in our operating income, and 13% growth in our operating income, and 19% growth in earnings per share, EPS. Looks like amazing results. We recorded, this is not a great thing, but do want to talk in this forum. We recorded a 1.1 billion in technology services revenue. And you will probably ask, like, how come an investment management firm, and a technology revenue. How does that marry together? I'll probably let my colleagues talk more about the tech at BlackRock. But BlackRock is as much as a Silicon Valley firm as it is a Wall Street firm. So we are a very good mix of finance, Wall Street financial versus Silicon Valley tech culture. Our 2020 performance was possible because the dedication and tireless efforts of our 16,500 employees globally. Throughout the past year, we have kept the health and safety of our employees and their families as our top priority. One fact that I feel very, very proud about, I'll share, is we committed to our employees, including those whose jobs was dependent on being in the office. We would not eliminate a single role, as a result of the pandemic in 2020. And we very proudly talk about it. We also implemented several efforts to support our employees in the physical, mental, and emotional healthcare programs, not just internally, externally also. BlackRock success in 2020 meant that we were able to support our communities who were impacted because of the pandemic and needed it the most. So we committed donating USD $50 million and to the COVID-19 relief efforts. And to date, we have deployed more than 50% of that commitment to 60 food relief, community support, frontline workers, organizations across the hardest hit areas across 18 countries. Another proud thing about who BlackRock is. We have a very strong workforce behind BlackRock's performance, but what drives us on a daily basis is our mission, our 5 principles, and our purpose. Basically, what we stand for. And these are not just words. This is something that we live each day. Our long-term success depends on our ability to fulfill our mission. And if you've read through in the websites, our mission is creating better financial future for our clients. As we pursue the mission, we are guided by our culture and our 5 principles, and we ensure we never forget that. What we stand for, that's our purpose. Put simply, our mission is what we do. Our principles describe how we do work, and our purpose explains the reason we exist. So we at BlackRock, we feel very passionate about, the purpose, the driving 5 principles, and the culture we have. We believe in the strength of our culture, but it binds us together, and how it propels us forward as well. As I think about how far BlackRock has come, and I talk about a 32-year-old journey in serving our clients and delivering for our shareholders and our clients. Since becoming a public company, culture has been critical to creating that value. And we at BlackRock feel very, very proud about our culture. So if you would ask people in our employee opinion surveys, or if you would ask about what is one thing that you feel most proud about working at BlackRock, culture definitely stands out. We never take our culture for granted. It's why we invest so heavily, and consistently cultivate it, and we are very relentless at ensuring that it is lived each day. And the reason why I'm talking about culture a lot today as well. Personally, to me, culture is a very, very broad term, but personally, just to help, all of you and my friends, female friends, understand what culture I'm describing at BlackRock. Culture to me means that I don't hold back my thoughts, with the fear that, am I talking to a very senior person, or what I'm speaking is sounding naive. I do speak my mind. To me, BlackRock culture means I can experiment and don't fear failure. You would probably hear and get the taste of that when I share my story. To me, BlackRock culture means that I'm empowered and can drive projects based on my abilities and not being told what to do. And to me, BlackRock culture means that I can self-manage my time and decide if I need to take a midday break just to have the school chat with my daughters and not worry or bury myself under the work pressure. We at BlackRock are very proud of our culture. I also want to, just share some of my personal observations with you today. While, in the last 13 months when the pandemic hit, you probably would know this quote, right? Where people say that when the time is tough, that's when you see the real character of an individual. And I would relate that to BlackRock. So in the last 13 months when the pandemic hit, four things that I saw them surface so well, across BlackRock. I have experienced that in my journey with BlackRock in the last 16, 17 years, but in the pandemic time, it really surfaced well and out loud there. First, at BlackRock, I have seen very smart people. I think my professional journey has been amazing in terms of how I learn, how I process information, how do I articulate, and how do I respond. It's because I work a lot with just mute. There's a lot of noise. Okay, and that's because I work a lot with industry smart people. No matter what the questions, we have answers. No matter what the problems are, we have the solutions. So it's an amazing opportunity to be working and surrounded by very smart people in the industry. Two, at BlackRock, I have seen incredibly caring and compassionate people. During COVID, we saw everybody was worried about themselves, their family, their friends. We also had to worry about everyone else at the firm. The level of compassion and patience in giving giving that requires, and the emotional toll that it takes on each one of us is immense. But we all gave it willingly, very proud, one team, one BlackRock. Third, at BlackRock, I have seen leadership, partnership, and support. I received this message from my APAC chair. She's retired from BlackRock. She's left BlackRock. She sent me a note saying that, "Hey Nisha, just checking on you. How are you doing? If you need any support." I think that one email really talks a lot about do people care about. We have seen so many of us stepped up just to do not just to do our jobs, but to help our colleagues and step in whatever gaps we saw. We care as much as about our colleagues' success as we care for ours. And lastly, I've seen unparalleled work ethics. Oh my God. We put aside time zones, sleep schedules, normal things like midday lunch break, and keep working. The reason I'm sharing so many heartfelt things at BlackRock is I want to just get familiar to things that I've experienced, I observe all the time at BlackRock, which probably you may not listen into our websites, you will not see it into our websites and elsewhere. While I talk about who we are and what we stand for, I do want to take a few minutes and talk about our strategy, focus, and efforts on creating a diverse and inclusive culture. At BlackRock, we measure diversity in various lenses like gender, ethnicity, etc. And as a firm, we have made a huge progress in growing our female talent at BlackRock. Statistically, just looking at numbers, our global diversity, female diversity at BlackRock has grown from 25.7% to 31.4% in the last 4 years, is a significant move. And we have also grown senior women, which is managing directors and directors globally, from 14.4% to a 19.1% this year. Again, a significant move. Close to heart in India, 42% of our workforce is diverse. We are approximately 700 plus employees here in India in 3 locations, Gurgaon, Mumbai, and Bangalore. And 42% of our workforce is diverse. And we have approximately 29% of our female in the senior roles, which is managing directors and directors. Beyond these numbers, and data points, I'll share high-level initiatives of how we drive the culture of diversity and inclusion at BlackRock. 2 key pillars: how do we bring in talent? So how do we hire talent? And how do we retain and grow the talent? How do we engage with talent so that all of us see a long-term career at BlackRock? So first pillar, our hiring. We look both internally and externally. Internally, how can we improve our processes of being more a diverse firm? So all of our interview panels are diverse. We have a diverse hiring slate so that we have a very good mix of perspective while we're interviewing the candidates. Externally, we have partnerships, with a lot of, globally, we have partnerships with a lot of firms like Tech of Color, Women in Technology, Atlanta, Academy for Moms, change makers, women change makers here in India, and now with Jobs for Her, constantly investing into how do we grow and bring more women to workplace. Second pillar on engagement and growth, how do we retain and grow talent, especially the women talent? Three key things to highlight there. One, our internal Women's Initiative and Allies Network brings together leadership, innovation, and passion to foster the full potential of women at BlackRock. It's a community where women can lean in into each other and grow their careers. Secondly, women-focused development programs, development, mentoring, and sponsorship programs at all levels to um, help you, grow, develop perspective, and be more successful. We have, just naming the few, we have the APAC early career sponsorship program for our associate and analyst population, slightly, junior population. This is APAC-wide program. Then we have a Propel program, which is a global program for our vice presidents, women in vice president roles. And this program obviously is a global program, so it's a global cohort. And then we have enterprise leadership acceleration at BlackRock, which is called ELAB. I was part of that program 2 years back for directors. And then Women in Leadership will program for our managing directors, female and managing director roles. These programs provide an opportunity to expand network, develop, business understanding outside your immediate areas, and eventually feel enabled. How can you draw your own career castle? How can you draw the direction that you want to move to? Our internal BlackRock Academies also provides the plethora of resources to learn all the time, ranging from Harvard Business Review articles, learning pathways, so many tech courses, operational courses, project management courses, and also leadership perspective to stay invested in yourself. All these things, when I talk about, I've been a real beneficiary of, such programs, such exposure at BlackRock. While being the only female managing director at BlackRock India, I feel that the opportunities and the and the drive this organizational culture and feel provides is immense. This is a lot of you may be surprised. This is my fourth job at BlackRock, and people say, "What made you stay for so long at BlackRock, 16 years?" And I said, "This is not my first job. This is like my fourth job at BlackRock. I've kept changing roles." Being from analytics and finance background with no experience in HR, I'm heading HR for BlackRock in India. Speaks volumes about how the firm grows, the talent in the organization. Also, I took a lot of charge of my career, and I really want to share three things that worked very, very well in my favor. First, I outlived my fear of trying something new and the risk of failing. I talked about it earlier as well. I expanded my risk-taking muscle. I raised my hand for jobs that I thought I will not be able to do, or I was not prepared for. And I think that really helped me. The second thing is I created my network of sponsors all throughout my journey by always being doing something outside my core job that helped me create an evidence of my capabilities and expand my network. And lastly, being the student all your life. Remember, past learning fades. You can't be wearing the same clothes all throughout your life. I invested in myself through education, experience, exposure, so that I continue to be a better version of myself. And I think I'm, right now on this forum, in this meeting, this time, I'm not just representing BlackRock. Please trust me, I'm not representing just BlackRock, but I'm also representing women. I'm also representing the power of women coming together and helping each other. Before I hand it over to Ujjwala back, I know I've taken a lot of time. I want to close with something I've always believed. The success of every woman should be the inspiration to others. We should raise each other up and be courageous, be strong, be kind, and lean into each other. I will take questions at the end of the session, but please, make it very, very participative and share what you feel or ask any questions that you can. Back to you, Ujjwala.
Thank you so much. I think there was one question that came in, and I have sent that separately on chat. So do have a look. We can take that up later. And that was amazing. Not just did you tell us everything about BlackRock, but you also gave us a little bit of insight into your own personal journey, which is great, which I don't think many of us get to understand about, corporate leaders who we think got it all easy, but there's a challenge to every role. And I'm hoping that all our attendees have gathered at least 2 or 3 points to remember, not just about working at BlackRock, but also making a career comeback wherever you want to, apply for jobs. So thank you for that very insightful session, Nisha. It was amazing. I'd now like to welcome our next 2 speakers, actually, Manisha Sukhija, who is a software professional with 20 plus years of career, reflecting strong leadership skills with program management, delivery management, and software solution design. She's got vast exposure in delivering end-to-end strategic initiatives and regulatory programs to enable business growth for her organization. During her tenure at BlackRock, she's worked across multiple product and platform teams in the Aladdin product group, owning and delivering value for BlackRock. She's currently leading the platform engineering within BlackRock's Aladdin product group in India. And on the personal note, she's married and settled in Delhi. She has a 14-year-old son who's currently in grade 9. So our next speaker is Gorika Chura. She's a computer science engineer with 15 plus years of experience in quality assurance. She's experienced working both on the buy and sell side, spread across investment banks and asset management firms. She's vast in reference data management, derivatives, Dodd-Frank regulators, and portfolio management. During her tenure at BlackRock, she has also worked across multiple product and platform teams in the Aladdin product group, owning quality for BlackRock. She currently leads the QA team globally, responsible for the quality of portfolio management and compliance Aladdin functions. Apart from work, she enjoys playing Lego and badminton with her 8-year-old son. So I'm extremely pleased to see that most of our speakers here have worked in various roles within BlackRock. So not only do they bring years of experience to their profile, but also years of skills that they've acquired through the years at BlackRock. So I'm very pleased to open the floor to Manisha and Gorika.
Thanks, Ujjwala. I hope I am audible loud and clear.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, that's lovely, because initially I was struggling with audio issues, but that's great. Thank you so much, Ujjwala, for introducing us. I'm going to start first, followed by Manisha. What we are going to focus on is engineering at BlackRock. So that I hope somebody is pulling up the slides. Okay, Manisha, do you think you'll be able to pull up the slides?
Just doing that. Just give me a second.
Okay. While Manisha does that, I will start talking. There's lots to cover, and I will try to keep it minimal. Talking about engineering at BlackRock, I'll first start with our mission statement. What is our mission statement at BlackRock? Mission statement is create a better financial future for our clients. Who are BlackRock's client? BlackRock is trusted by clients of all types, be it individual investors, be it pension funds, endowment foundations, wealth funds, governments, companies who face significant financial challenges. They all entrust BlackRock. They are all trusted clients of BlackRock. We also provide advisory services to these range of clients. Okay. Yeah, we can see the screen. Just give me a minute. Okay. So when we are pursuing our mission statement, right, we are guided by the culture and the principles in BlackRock. Now, when I joined BlackRock, I joined in 2014. At that time, we were introduced to the mission and the principles in induction program, right? As in my previous experiences with the firms, these things have been something, a yearly event wherein once in a town hall you hear about the principles or maybe about the mission statement, and then you memorize it so that in order to remember. But that's not the case with BlackRock. In BlackRock, you can see we underpin everything we do at BlackRock with the principles. Everyone from an analyst to an MD to CEO, they live by these principles every day, which is quite likely, which I have at least experienced in the other firms. They are organically ingrained into everything we want to do at BlackRock, day in, day out. Next slide, please, Manisha. Okay, I'm going to talk about Aladdin. What is Aladdin? Aladdin is BlackRock's vast technology platform. There is no force more dramatic than technology and its potential to transform the asset management industry. It's a common phrase in APG. APG is the Aladdin product group that's responsible for Aladdin's technological platform. It's common phrase at APG. The common phrase is to find a technical solution to any problem that you face, be it around people, be it around business, be it around functions. From the way we generate alpha to way we deliver investment solutions to client, to way we operate, BlackRock has always embraced technology for a catalyst of growth, right? Uh, Again, Aladdin, it's no secret sauce. It is one of the things that differentiates us from other players. While in other firms, we would have observed that technology is very specific to that firm, right? That's not the case with Aladdin. We built Aladdin. It's our unified investment and risk management platform. It helps us understand risk and manage portfolios on behalf of our clients. And it is a truly global single instance platform. What differentiates Aladdin from others is that it is also relied upon by other asset managers and institutions like bank and insurance companies. They use Aladdin to do their asset management, right? Hence, Aladdin, the technology team, APG, the technology team is not a cost center for BlackRock like other service firms. It is a leading revenue generating stream. We sell our technology to asset owners and managers to use Aladdin to manage their own risk. That's the beauty of Aladdin. When I joined BlackRock, I was quite surprised to see this, wherein we are selling our technology to our competitors. But that's the beauty of Aladdin. That's the beauty of asset management and BlackRock as well. Next slide, please. Next is innovation. Innovation is something which is at heart of BlackRock. Aladdin, it's an unconventional platform, and we use it to do unconventional things, right? Listed over here are a lot of things, right, which have created a great impact. Certainly in context of asset management, right? We have deepened the understanding of our world around us by providing view into markets, investing, and risk at global and local level. It's our priority to lead the industry in data-driven decision making, operations, distributions, to explore the potential that new technologies offer in designing and delivering holistic client outcomes. Think of BlackRock as a startup. Which has the ability to leverage the benefits of scale. That's what BlackRock is. Manisha mentioned about us. Nisha mentioned about a lot of forums which are being run. I want to talk about one of the forums, that's Hackathon. There are other forums as well, Geek Weekly, Tech for Women. These are all forums which encourage innovation, which encourage culture of innovation within BlackRock. Hackathon, it's an annual event, right? I won't say it's an annual event. It's a annual innovation building festival in BlackRock, annual innovation festival in BlackRock. That's what I would rephrase it and not just say it as an annual event, right? We are very passionate about hackathon. Throughout my tenure, I have seen a couple of flagship products of BlackRock, which are there out live in the market being used by the users and are flagship products of BlackRock. They all came from hackathon. And hackathon is not just about technology. It is more than that. We have participants from business roles who are from a non-technological background, who know the business very well, understand the problems which business needs to solve. They come together and form teams with people from technology. They all come up with innovative ideas to solve for challenges, be it related to business or be it related to people as well. Again, I would say annual innovation festival in BlackRock, that's hackathon. There are other forums as well, but hackathon is one of our standing out forum for innovation. Next slide, please. Aladdin is an end-to-end investment management platform, right? So I'll just briefly talk about this one. More than technology, Aladdin powers collective intelligence. It provides tools that help our client partners communicate effectively, address problems quickly, make informed decisions at every step of investment. It is an integration. It is an integration of people. It's an integration of processes and systems to centralized platform and database. That's the beauty of Aladdin. Truly, in one BlackRock sense, this is one centralized platform which is used by everybody, right? Be it HR, be it asset management, be it operations. Everybody uses Aladdin, right? So when we talk about Aladdin, we actually talk about the entire life of a trade, right? How the trade takes place on the system, what kind of a research needs to be done, risk analysis, portfolio management, trading, post-trade operations, performance, attributions, every step of trade, it's done on Aladdin. Throughout this process, Aladdin is ensuring compliance with regulations and checking for high quality data. Okay, let's think about Aladdin like a smartphone, right? We have Genie, which is similar to an app store, right? It is collection of everything that is available for us to use. Like we have an app store, we can choose apps from there which suits our need as an individual. We do that. Wherein when it comes to an organization, they would need maybe a lot more apps to run their business. So that's how we relate Genie to Aladdin to a smartphone. Again, if I talk about a smartphone, right, taking an example of Apple, right? In Apple, I think Apple users have this common language. Did you FaceTime me? Can I FaceTime you? Right? That's a language for Apple users, right? That's not a language for Samsung users, right? Similarly, in Aladdin, we aspire Aladdin to be the language of asset management. To quote an example, did you bond cal your securities? Did you bond cal analytics of your securities? So for a security, we generate analytics, right? BondCal is a tool which does that for us. So this is the terminology. This is the language that we want everybody in the asset management to speak. Wherein did you BondCal your analytics for your security? That's the language, and it's indeed very powerful if you think about it. I will move on to the next slide, please. Aladdin principles, right? Again, we are, as I said, right, we believe in solving problems through technology. We are technological fiduciary to our technology fiduciary to our clients. We are solving our clients' needs through technology. While being focused on achieving all of that, we are guided by the engineering principles. Like any operating system, Aladdin is also an operating system, and we want to ensure that it is always reliable and responsive. When we design Aladdin, before we code, we design Aladdin, right? We treat testing is treated as coding, and it is never compromised in Aladdin. All interactions between applications and workflows are done through APIs, microservices. We do not, we are moving away from the monolithic architecture. We are operating in a single data model and a single source of truth. Software engineering, it is no more than coding. It requires trust, collaboration, and empathy of colleagues and end users. We actively contribute code, ideas, and solutions across our community. We care deeply about the user experience and build Aladdin with user in mind. We build towards business outcomes and not applications. Hence, all of these has helped us be that industry leading platform in the asset management firm. And we are proud to show our products to end users and take their feedback very seriously. Moving on to next slide, please. Aladdin platform. These are some numbers. These are not just some numbers, these are amazing numbers. 29 million plus lines of code, 60 plus active risk factors, which are monitored daily, 75 plus companies across the globe. Now, I initially mentioned, right, Aladdin is being used by other asset management firms. To quote some examples over here, Vanguard, Straight Street Global Advisors, they are the largest fund managers after BlackRock. Uh, Apart from this, there are other firms which are other firms like Japan's government pension fund, right? The world's largest, that's one of the world's largest fund that's being managed through Aladdin. Apple, Microsoft, Google, the three biggest US public firms, they all rely on the system to steward hundreds and billions of dollars in their corporate treasury investment portfolios. That's the power of Aladdin, and that's the beauty of Aladdin. With this, I would like to hand over to Manisha to talk us through rest of the journey of Aladdin.
Okay, so I am Manasha, and I'm part of the BlackRock technology team. And the biggest footprint of the technology team sits within a group called APG, which is Aladdin Product Group, and that's what I and Gorika are part of. Before I get on to the journey of why join APG or why join BlackRock, I just want to kind of put in two themes, that for me resonated with what Nisha said. The first one, as part of my journey as a female, I have got initially when I got out of college, I got a placement in CDOT, which is Center for Development of Telematics. It's a government organization. I spent 7 years in that organization, and after 7 years, I made a difficult decision. Not difficult in terms of leaving that organization, but I desperately wanted to leave that organization. But the a decision to move on from CDOT and join a private organization. Now, the journey in my career, this part of the journey or switch in my career was really critical because at the time I made this decision, my son was just 6 months old. Uh, I did not get a lot of support from a lot of people, from my relatives. Most of them thought I was making the biggest mistake of my life. But the motivation for my moving there was primarily because I felt like I was really not learning much beyond that point, and I wasn't really utilizing my skill set or my core capabilities. Now, even my dad, was against my decision. People thought I was being crazy. One person, however, who supported me in my decision at that point was my husband. And it was really difficult in terms of trying to get over the guilt that was partly self inflicted and partly inflicted because of societal reasons of leaving a 6-month-old son at home and moving to a private organization. I sat in the lobby of Fidelity, which was the organization that I joined, and really it was probably twice thrice that I told my husband, do you think it's the right thing to do? And let's just give up and let's just go back home. But I think, at the end of all of that, when I look back, it echoes with Nisha's message around you on your careers. Don't let societal norms kind of pull you back. Have that faith. There's no magic bullet to manage your personal as well as your professional life. Uh, there are compromises to be made, and there's a support system that needs to be built. But can you do it? Yes, you can. And just hang on to what you believe in is truly good for you. So that having been said, the second thing, and that's very BlackRock specific and culture specific, again relates to the flexibility that BlackRock provides, and will probably relate with a few of you. During the course of my journey a few years ago, I had a bit of a serious, family problem. My mother was seriously ill, and I was in the middle of a huge delivery at that point. Delivery in terms of professional delivery, a project needed to be delivered. There were critical timelines that were to be adhered to, and I talked to my manager, and he was extremely supportive of me focusing on my personal issue at that point in time, because family comes first was the message that I got when I kind of told him about my problem and my situation. For 1 month almost, I was actually missing from office, going off and on, hardly keeping track. And not only did my manager support me through this journey, but every single team member supported me through this journey, which kind of speaks volumes of the flexibility and of the support that BlackRock offers to its employees during their time of need. So I think these are the two themes that I could drive, commonality with Nisha, and hence thought about sharing it. Moving on to the core part, I'm going to cover in the next few slides is the technology landscape of BlackRock. What are the teams in BlackRock, and the role of the technology team is playing to empower BlackRock, evolve and enhance our product called Aladdin. Now, what does Aladdin stand for? Aladdin stands for Asset, Liability, and Debt and Derivative Investment Network. As laid out earlier, it handles trillions of assets across BlackRock and across other clients. Aladdin uses collective intelligence and a plethora of technologies to create a seamless investment management operations. Now, what you see here are just a few of the technologies that make up Aladdin and its tools and services. Aladdin combines analytics technologies for sophisticated risk analytics. It's got multiple languages, including Java, Python, C++, to name a few, which help in building comprehensive portfolio management, trading, and operation tools. These services that are built on Aladdin are using these languages, and they're powered by front ends, which could be built using JavaScript, Angular, React based frameworks. They also have an extensive use of databases like Sybase and NoSQL databases like Sybase IQ. From a caching perspective, there's again extensive use of caching methodologies, and we've got strong reliance on Cassandra, Ignite, to name a few. A lot of data-centric operations are powered by Hadoop and Spark clusters. For inter-message communication, we've been relying on an in-house built messaging framework called PMS, which is the BlackRock messaging system. But in recent times, we've also started to introduce for event-based triggering. And we're also using gRPC, which utilize Google protobufs. Moving on to the next slide. Our technology stack is evolving. Aladdin is an epitome of technology and a platform to be considered for investment management and trading operations across diverse asset classes. And if it is an epitome, and we definitely want to continue to be one, then the differentiating factor for us is that it kind of the factor that differentiates us from any other financial players is the fact that we've got a fintech platform, which we need to evolve over a period of time. There's a focus on migrating it to Azure Cloud currently and making these services truly cloud native. There's immense focus on building our services in a manner that we can enable Aladdin to be opened up to clients so that they can build up their own applications on top of Aladdin and our niche service algorithms. To this To this end of opening up Aladdin and exposing APIs, we launched Aladdin Studio last year, which helps in building on top of Aladdin. Studio has fully opened up Aladdin to its community, and we've made 30 plus APIs available to our community, providing tools that allow them to quickly figure out what to build and find the data and services they need to build it. We've seen incredible adoption rates to date, with dozens of organizations building on top of Aladdin and a 500% increase in our API usage over a period of time. Our product offerings include Aladdin for risk management, Aladdin for institutional clients, eFront capabilities which service the alternative investment front, Aladdin Wealth for our wealth clients, and Future Advisor products and services for professional advisor. Moving on to the next slide, this slide primarily talks about the different teams that make up BlackRock, and it kinds of gives a flavor of the area that we as technical engineers need to build tools for to power them. From a business perspective, we have the advisory services and the advisory and client services who operate at the intersection of financial markets, policy regulations, and sector transformation. Our analytics and risk professionals work with the investment teams to analyze, understand, and manage risk of client portfolios in real time. What both these teams need are access to information, raw data transformed into meaningful analytics via algorithms, which have been developed and augmented over a period of time. And these algorithms are developed by world-class developers with the relentless innovation and constant evolution of technology. The business operations and corporate functions are the engine of the firm and support our investment teams. The investment teams are the portfolio managers who make investment decisions, basis market research, and the client needs. Then what they need to do is see a whole portfolio view, understand the risk exposure, and act with precision. They need portfolio construction, portfolio management, portfolio rebalancing tools with access to information in order to allow them to make meaningful decisions and also facilitate their day-to-day activities. We as technology expert deliver tools to facilitate these functionalities. Relationship management and the sales team, that's the single point of contact in the face of BlackRock to the client. They partner with the sales team who commercialize our product and services to meet individual client needs in order to better serve our clients and to personalize the engagement for their clients and to automate the onboarding of clients on Aladdin. We need to build software for our client-facing teams. The backbone of all the business function teams is the technology team. We are more than 1,500 developers geographically placed across various geographical locations, focused on continuous enhancements, which are delivered not only to BlackRock internal users, but are also made available to external clients and are used by approximately 55,000 investment professionals around the world. Now, just adding on one more theme that kind of relates when we talk about different teams, across BlackRock is my journey through BlackRock. When I joined the firm, I was part of the team which was focused on building tools to enable sales and distribution of financial products. It was a wonderful learning curve as I came from an organization which was focused on building technical solutions for retail financial consumers. And this was the start of my journey around the institutional finance world. Having been part of that team for a bit, then I moved on to the ETF technology team, which was focused on powering our iShares business. Now, this team was focused on development around the end-to-end life cycle of ETF products, from capturing ETF orders and how those orders get in to Aladdin for investment managements to make investment management professionals to make their decisions, and also included kind of developing interfaces with third-party vendors, custodians, brokers. From a technical perspective, it was a full stack development with flavors of Python for standardizing the third party file generation and consumption. The technology had to provide solutions for reliability, scalability, better response time for client facing tools. And that kind of meant usage of whole remit of caching methodologies, and Ignite was the need of the day. Now, neither me nor any of my team members had any prior knowledge about Ignite to the extent that we could use it. But and actually, there are a lot of such opportunities available all across technology teams. And I'm going to shortly talk about how we kind of made that possible. However, what I also wanted to add is that my latest technology upskilling has been with me moving to the platform team, where now I've had to learn gRPC, protobufs, API gateway, authentication and authorization solutions, which are built by use of vendor products like Nginx and Okta. Now, upskilling is a part of the journey, and BlackRock recognizes this. Being a student is central to who we are at BlackRock and is a key driver for our success. The BlackRock academies that Nisha did touch upon enable a culture of learning and provide scaled education to our people through tailored learning experiences. There are multitudes of trainings offered by BlackRock academies, out of which one is the Tech Academy. From in-house content built via Geek Weeklies or blogs to curated content, it is a one-stop shop for elevating your tech IQ. Every single BlackRock employee within APG or outside APG, so every single BlackRock employee actually has access to BlackRock Academy. Talking specifically about the BlackRock Tech Academy, it also has tie-ups with industry leaders like O'Reilly, Coursera, Pluralsight to provide employees a subscription account to get access to trainings, certifications, and to build their technology expertise and to transform their career. Now, moving on to this slide, slide primarily talks about technology roles. The most obvious ones that spring up to maybe the technology people are the software engineering and the data science role. Our software engineering role is a core software development, but with a flair for learning the business side of a fintech organization. There are other system roles and DevOps roles, which also kind of sit within this column at a very high level. From a data science perspective, data science is a bit of a more niche skill set, which focuses primarily on the data science technology and its use cases within the analytics world. Client services and product management, these are a mix of knowledge of Aladdin and of our technology so as to be able to do our role a little more effectively. So what are we looking for? No single type of person succeeds at BlackRock. We recognize that talent comes in many forms and we value diverse perspectives. So whatever your background, whatever you've studied, there could be a place for you here. What are we looking here currently as future colleagues is, number one, you have demonstrated leadership skills. What that means is that we are looking for more of all-rounders, and we even welcome people who have strengths outside of academia. We believe that, you know, if you're energized by the learning journey, we would be, you know, happy to have you and be part of the learning process that you are interested in. Are you willing to be agile across products, business, and geographies? Then, and are you actually okay to accept the new challenge outside of your comfort zone? Then that's BlackRock is the place for you. If you're open to pursuing new and unexpected opportunities and push yourself, or you'll be content with, or are you still content with your experience? The point that I'm trying to get to is that we're happy to kind of have different skill set, different knowledge bases, and diverse opinions. What we value is your ability to take on a learning journey, push yourself outside your comfort zone, feel a little stretched, Use your intellectual curiosity, challenge the status quo, and push boundaries, and learn as you do your on job training. Last but not the least, our culture. I think most, whether it's Nisha, whether it's Garika, we've talked about our culture. And I think whenever you to speak to anyone at BlackRock, you'll probably hear them talk about the culture of the firm. It's a culture that we are all proud of. At BlackRock, we firmly believe in the principle of inclusion and diversity, which are key to our success. We take an active approach to this principle, and we've made public commitments to increase female representation across all levels of the organization. We also offer a range of benefits, programs, and resources to meet the varying needs of the talent across the firm. And some of these are a year round dress down policy, flexible time off, take as many paid leaves off per year as you need while still fulfilling your work obligations, paid days off to volunteer for a support of our uh, volunteer for a cause you support. I think Nisha did touch upon almost all of this, and with that, I'll kind of wrap up and hand the mic back to Ujjwala.
Thank you. Thank you, Manisha and Gorika. I can see that that session was indeed very insightful because we have several questions coming in. I think all our attendees are also very keen on, asking you about certain aspects of, returnship programs and internship programs at BlackRock. And we have a few questions that I think I will club some of them so that we cover most of them in this session. I'd like to send these questions to Nisha. These are from Nivedita Aneja, who's one of our participants today. She'd like to know, one, about the Return to Office program, like the returnship program that BlackRock offers. Is it an internship of 3 to 6 months, or will it directly be on a full-time role? And also, are there any sponsorship programs for courses which can be taken from outside the organization? Nisha, if you could like to answer that.
Sure. Thank you, Chola. I think we have taken a lot of time talking about, we feel very passionately about BlackRock, but just jumping and answering quickly on the returnship program. This is our launch of returnship program in partnership with Jobs for Her. We do have a very big, cohort of women who are returning moms who are who've taken extended break after their 6 months of maternity as well. So there is a kind of a culture that is already thriving at BlackRock when we talk about women returning, whether it's a 6 months or a 2 years break. I think it's the same kind of a mindset that you will have or the organization will have. So I would not say that we're very new to hosting women who are returning to workforce after a break. But in terms of the internship course question versus the full-time, we are looking for a full-time opportunities, and there's a strong reason that we are committed to this program to get women back to workforce rather than just try it on an internship basis and then see if this is working or not working. That being said, full-time roles will also not only just inspire you to have that emotional ownership when you're getting to the firm, but us as well in terms of articulating, curating, and preparing our onboarding programs, which makes it comfortable for our women colleagues to feel that your first few months help you get more comfortable, get you more learning opportunities before we get you on a track of, hey, these are your responsibilities and this is how we're going to measure your performance. So I obviously, as part of my HR and working with my colleagues in HR, is something that, we are drafting a program which helps, other than the normal returning moms or returning females to workforce, where you can experience BlackRock through interactions, leadership sessions, have learning opportunities, and then maybe also slightly start to get involved in some of the projects, but slowly as you feel more comfortable. So, one of the things I do want to call out is that this firm really encourages you to set your own pace. If you want to set a slow or a fast pace, it's up to you. So that's what my response would be.
Thank you so much. I hope that answered your questions, Nivedita. But there are also 2-3 very pertinent questions about the interview process itself, right? Because we're all coming back to trying to come back to work in a rather uncertain time in the corporate world, thanks to all that we've been through the past year. So I think one of those pertinent questions that most candidates have will be, like Anchal Singhi here says, since we're returning to work after a while, on what basis are we judged in the interview? Because they're not in touch, with technology for a while. Are there anything, any tips that they need to keep in mind before they, come back, like attend an interview when they're returning to work?
Sure. I am, an advocate for that thing. And if you remember my story, when I talked about some jargons like CMBS, securitization had zero knowledge. I would say it's a good collaboration between how you prepare yourself and show, not just demonstrate that you know everything, but show your ability to learn. One of the things that we practice religiously in our interview process is hire for skills that you can't train. We look for skills that we can't train people. So just like attitude, right? You can't train people. Work ethics, you can't train people on that. This is something that individual brings on their own. Versus core technologies, a lot of that, as you heard Manisha and Gorika, a lot of that is very specific to BlackRock. You anyways have to learn that. So we would not really, see if you are 100 on 100 or 10 on 10 on these core skills. But I would actually urge BlackRock, no BlackRock, to make sure that you are a student, you are understanding what's happening in the market, and then demonstrate your capability to quickly learn and get onto the required skills that are there. So you should not stop yourself from that first barrier of I don't know about this job, I don't know about these skills or this technology. Should I apply or not apply? Go for it. Ask while in your interviews, or you're hiring people interfacing you from BlackRock to tell you what are those core subjects or skills that I can prepare for. I do want to call out, and obviously we have to work out with our team here at BlackRock, is that our interviews and the complexities of the various tests and mechanisms that we follow while interviewing is very different, is going to be different than what we do with this group. We have to be cognizant that, like I committed earlier, that there has to be a comforting period of when you actually get onto the real job, and likewise in the interview process as well. So rest assured, I would say, rather than carrying that fear in mind, go for it and see is BlackRock, doing that real opportunity, braving that real opportunity or not.
Can I actually jump in and add something at the
Sure,
back
Manisha.
of it? Even from a technical interview, or when you're looking at interviews primarily from a technical perspective, what we tend to do is, and something that's really important is, do you kind of know what you worked on earlier? And do you kind of have got an understanding of what you built and why you built it the way you built it? And I think that is going to be extremely critical. We do acknowledge that you've had a gap. To Nisha's point, are you open to learning? If we were to prompt you, can you think of an alternative way of solutionizing? Not really solutionizing primarily from the perspective coding, I mean, language apart, it is how much are you able to think through and kind of communicate back around solutioning options. That becomes critical as well.
And maybe just, Manisha, some more context to that. Nobody asked me HR questions when I was moving to HR. So just an example.
That's great. Thank you. It's always nice to hear all our panelists being involved in the Q&A, because it doesn't really help targeting one question to one person, which I think all of you all at BlackRock are doing so many things to ensure that women are given that right kind of opportunity to get back to work. So I have so many questions coming in from all our attendees today, to just that will give you an idea of how keen they are on actually returning to work, despite everything that's happening, despite all the that are floating around, that there aren't enough opportunities for women, thanks to all the layoffs that we've been seeing. But one other question that I see coming in commonly from most attendees is one that Anjali Sharma has. Do we also have the opportunity to switch or upskill from a software development role to a data science role? Is this something that any of you all would like to take up to answer? The opportunity to upskill.
Right. So opportunity to upskill, I think we talked about upskilling any which way.
Yeah.
Different roles need a different kind of skill set. So we've got immense upskilling opportunities, and Nisha's journey kind of clearly articulates that we are more than happy to switch people from one team to another. So there is internal job postings and internal mobility is encouraged. Upskilling is anyway a learning journey that we're more than happy for anybody to embark on, and it is the need of the hour, irrespective whether it is from X technology to Y, because you never know when the need for a technology arises. We offer, as I talked about a lot, we offer tech academies. We've got tie-ups with external vendors around certifications, etc. And there are multitudes of other kind of programs wherein you could once you're a part of a BlackRock you are a BlackRock employee. We offer short term, long term engagements. If we feel that somebody is showing immense interest, there could be an opportunity created specifically targeted to your interest. Maybe go and learn there for 15 days, 30 days, come back and let us know uh, what you gained, whether you really want to go move in, and then take a decision. So I think there's immense flexibility, and there's immense focus on upskilling and no dearth of opportunities.
Fantastic. Most of what questions that you've been asking us has been covered very much in detail through all of their presentations and their talk earlier in the session. So I'd like to just bring to your notice a comment from Swati, who really likes the intuition of providing a chance for women to get back in the race. The core of BlackRock is strong, and I would like to join BlackRock very soon. For Gorika, so as a woman who wants to come back to work after, let's say, a break of 2 years, what should she keep in mind when one is preparing for the interview? Like some very basic, soft skills that you need to be aware of, because we're all returning to work after a long time. So I'm guessing that your mindset is not the same as it would be, right, when you're working constantly. So any tips that you would like to give us?
I think the topmost that comes to my mind when we are talking about women returning after a break, it is the confidence. You got to be confident. You got to be confident that you took a decision to take a break. Be confident of that decision. You got to be confident that now you want to join back. You have given your time to the family. If it was because of the child care, you want to join back. Be confident about that. And I would say, as Manisha also mentioned, right? Do some kind of a homework. Do upgrade yourself in some in the skill sets, right? Our industry is ever changing. I won't think anybody will be looking for hands-on experience, but definitely be aware of what's happening in the industry, right? If there are any certifications, there are numerous forums. I think if you can go and do that, that would definitely help. And see, all of this will help in building your confidence as well. I think confidence is the most important thing for women who are returning to work.
Absolutely. And I think these kind of sessions, one-on-one with, women leaders like yourselves, is like a starting point to anybody who thinks, it's not possible because they've been on a break. And you guys are, I think, like the living examples, like Manisha said, because all of you all have been through various roles with BlackRock. And the fact that you can upskill and move on according to your talent and capabilities is simply amazing. So I'd like to
Ujjwala,
round
can
up.
I
Sure.
just one? Yeah, I can just take up the question on return to office.
Yes.
It's very, very important for our, female friends. So, we were all been going through this environment of moving and adapting to 100% work from home, BlackRock also has been working in the last 13 months, 100% work from home globally. 90% of our staff has been working from home. While we talked a lot about our culture, we do believe that, whiteboarding together, having those coffee and chai chats together, so nothing can replace the personal interactions. We do look forward to come back to office and not have this 100% work from home forever. But we have a very open return to office thinking. The first and the foremost reason is when each of our employee feels comfortable. We have opened our Gurgaon office a month back, but it's open on if people really want to come to work, but we're not, have a mandate of people to come to work. Globally, we have this global guidance from our HR global head is like end of June, we don't need to return to work. And that may get extended depending on what situations we are in. Needless to say, personally, being a mother, being a caretaker for my parents, home, etc., I feel that there is immense flexibility, whether, we are out of the pandemic, we are within the pandemic. We do have a lot of flexibility because we believe in empowerment. If you are empowered for your work, if you are you have the responsibility and emotional ownership, I don't think we have these boundaries of 8 to 5 or 9 to 6 kind of a thing. I have in all my life at BlackRock have leveraged the flexibility whenever I needed to be at my kids' school thing, or I needed to attend a late night meeting. It's a very open kind of an environment, when it is about flexibility. The only thing that's required is to have that conversation with your manager and talk about your specific situation. So I just thought I'll because it's very relevant for our women colleagues, I thought I'll take that up. Ujjwala, thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm sorry I missed that. That was one of the first questions that came in, actually, and very relevant, like you said, because even now when you're working from home, you don't know when things will open up and when you'll have to go back to that, working from the office routine, which will also take a certain amount of time and, division of responsibilities to go back to what it was. So thank you again. Again, some very inspiring messages from all our attendees. Anchal Singh, he says, it was a very inspiring and motivating session, and looking forward to working with all of you someday. And we are also hoping that all of you will get back to work in the near future, because rest assured there are opportunities waiting for you. And please do be part of these insightful sessions in the future. We'll keep you notified of them whenever anything comes up. So thank you to all our panelists for joining us today. And we hope all of you also had a good time interacting with our audience, as did we interacting with you. Thank you so much. And have a great day, all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you.
Thank you.